You just hit hour 72 awake. Go ahead. Push through with coffee. Doesn't work anymore. Try an energy drink. Doesn't work either. Actually, nothing works because you are long past the point where your body responds to chemicals. You are now deep into the zone where your own brain starts inventing things that aren't there. Here's the real question. What actually happens inside a human mind that refuses to sleep, not for one bad night, but for days on end? What happened to the people who actually tried it is about to sound completely insane. It didn't take a disaster to get there. A radio DJ agreed to stay awake on live television as a publicity stunt. A 17-year-old did it for a school science fair. Truck drivers do it by accident, somewhere around hour 4 of a night shift, without even meaning to. And here's the part that makes it so dangerous. Losing sleep was never just feeling tired. It's a slow shutdown of the exact systems that keep you alive, the ones that tell a predator from a shadow, a highway from a hallway, reality from whatever your brain starts generating to fill the gap. Let's be honest about what actually happens inside your body. Past 24 hours awake, your reaction time is already as bad as being legally drunk. Past 48, your immune system starts backing off, like it's decided you're not worth defending anymore. And past 72, your brain begins doing something almost too strange to believe. It starts forcing itself to sleep in tiny pieces, 1 to 10 seconds at a time, whether you gave it permission or not. Doctors call these microsleeps. You call them zoning out. Your brain calls them survival. This is where it actually gets interesting. In 1959, a New York DJ named Tripp tried to stay awake 200 hours straight, live in a glass booth in Times Square. By hour 100, he was watching spiders crawl out of his own shoes. By hour 170, he was convinced the doctor monitoring him was secretly an undertaker trying to bury him alive, and he ran out into the street to escape. He technically finished the stunt. The people who knew him said the man who walked out of that booth was never quite the same again. 5 years later, a California teenager named Randy Gardner beat that record without even using caffeine. 11 days awake, 264 hours for a science project with 2 friends taking turns keeping him upright. By day 3, he couldn't tell objects apart by touch. By day 4, he was hallucinating that he was a famous football player. By day 9, doctors gave him a simple counting test, and he kept losing track of the number mid-sentence over and over, like his own brain had stopped being able to hold on to anything for more than a few seconds at a time. Sound familiar? That's the exact same glitch as walking into a room and instantly forgetting why you're there, except stretched from 20 seconds out to 9 straight days. Here's the part that surprises people. There is a real documented disease where the symptom isn't difficulty sleeping. It's the complete and permanent loss of the ability to sleep at all ever again, for the rest of your life. Doctors call it fatal familial insomnia. It's genetic, it's inherited, and once it activates, usually sometime in your 40s or 50s, there is no cure and no treatment. Just total insomnia. A body running on full stress alert around the clock with no off switch, and an average survival time after symptoms begin of about 1.5 years. It proves the thing Tripp and Randy Gardner only hinted at. Sleep was never optional. It's maintenance. Skip it completely and permanently, and the machine doesn't slow down. It fails. If any of that has you quietly panicking about your own rough week, relax a little. You are not going to die from final season or a bad flight schedule. Those microsleeps aren't a malfunction. They're your brain grabbing scraps of rest wherever it can, like scooping up loose change so it doesn't go fully bankrupt. It's the same trick every overtired human has been leaning on for as long as we've existed, and it's usually enough to get you through. Usually. The catch is microsleeps don't check what you're doing first. Investigators believe fatigue and a lapse of attention played a role in the Exxon Valdez running aground in 1989 just after midnight, hours into an exhausting shift. NASA's own research on long-haul pilots found microsleeps lasting only a few seconds were enough to cause real errors in the cockpit. And drowsy driving alone is linked to well over 100,000 police-reported crashes a year in the U.S., all from people who blinked just a little too long behind the wheel. Same glitch as Randy Gardner losing his count. Just now it's happening at 65 miles an hour. Here's the twist, though. Some people have known exactly how badly sleep deprivation breaks a human mind and use that on purpose. It shows up throughout military history as an interrogation method, specifically because it leaves no visible mark and because a brain running on empty will say almost anything to make the discomfort stop. Human rights organizations have formally classified it as a form of torture, not because it's uncomfortable, but because it works exactly like that glass booth in Times Square, just weaponized on purpose instead of by accident. And somewhere right now, someone is bragging in an interview about running their company on 4 hours of sleep a night, wearing exhaustion like a badge of honor. The same way Peter Tripp wore hour 150 right before the spiders showed up. Guinness World Records actually stopped accepting sleep deprivation attempts back in the 1990s, officially because they didn't want to keep encouraging something this dangerous. Teenagers need more sleep than adults, biologically, and yet most schools still start earlier for teenagers than for anyone else. One single bad night measurably weakens your immune system by the very next day. None of that is a coincidence. It's the same slow shutdown, just moving in slow motion instead of all at once. So next time you're lying there at 1 a.m., scrolling instead of sleeping, telling yourself you'll catch up this weekend, remember Randy Gardner 11 days in, unable to hold on to a number he'd said only seconds earlier. Your body isn't being dramatic when it fights you for that sleep. It's the one maintenance appointment every human being has kept without fail since long before we were even human. And the handful of times someone's tried to skip it completely, it did not go well for them. Go to bed.